Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm sitting here laughing. We're looking at the new opening for the show here with different pictures. Thanks. And goes out to Chris and Justin Burt for taking those photos and updating. They try to switch it up a little bit for you so you get little views of what's been going on and some of our past guests here on the show. And of course, Mr. Brody looking very, very stylish. I'm wearing my dog t-shirt today. This is, the other day was National Dog Day, Appreciation Day, I guess. So anyways, I see Brody's picture is updated there. I took him to the vet the other day. He's a little chunkier than he was last year. Well, he looks huge there. he's 40 pounds or something like that, but he's like a flying muscle. He's all muscle. He's a lean, mean machine. But anyways, Brody, thanks, Jeff, for popping that up. So for those of you that are dog lovers up there, I hope you had a special day with your pup and enjoy the fun that dogs bring into our lives. All right, good morning, everybody around the world, wherever you are, and a special shout out to my family over in the Netherlands. Cora, I know you watch the show and your family probably just about every week because they're always leaving a little hi or like or something. So anyways, I hope the weather's over there as well is good, and anyone else that's watching us around the world. Good afternoon to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people in Jamestown, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. And for those of you that watch us again and again and again at 2 and 8 on Spectrum 1301, thanks for checking in with us. I know a lot of times you can't watch us live Saturday mornings, but we're on channel 1301 every day. Did you know that this is a live call-in show? We don't get a lot of call-ins, but sometimes we do. And if you're interested, especially today, it could be the day that you want to ask a question, 716-753-5225. And I was telling my guests, as long as you're nice, you can ask a question. We don't take bullying or swearing at all. No, you gotta be nice. Okay, we're not like Facebook here. Anyways, if you have a comment, a question, an announcement, your club or organization is doing something, a fundraiser, give us a call. It's free. Randy is usually on the other end of the line, and we'll connect you somehow through technology into my earpiece and I can hear you. Also, if you're shy, they'll write it down and bring it into the studio here for me. Okay? So you can email us. There's the information there. And we're on Facebook. Our email address is chautauquasunrise@gmail.com, so you can send it during the week. We are happy to share your information. A lot of people do. And we'll begin the announcements here in a minute. So some things that are going on right now, or some things I want to share with you. We already talked about Dog Day. That was fun. Okay. Lots of things going on in the county. And one of the things that I don't have a slide for or a poster or anything is one of my underwriters, Meters Restaurant, is having a big weekend. They're having a car cruising today, vintage cars and really cool things. And my baby brother's bringing his big fancy vet there with the Corvette Club from up towards Buffalo. So they're going to be in-house over at Meters in Ripley. And tomorrow they're going to be featuring motorcycles. And the good news is my band that I'm in, the Growlers, will be playing from noon to 3, and we'll be inside the building because it's supposed to be like 80,000 degrees in the sun and possible rain showers. But Bob Bentley tells me that the event over today and tomorrow is rain or shine. So bring your umbrella or whatever, roll up the windows, come on down. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know he's having some special chicken barbecue and other things that they're offering as well. And all the proceeds from these shows are going to the school for the kids. Okay? So this weekend and from noon to 3 tomorrow, us guys, the Growlers. You got any Christmas cards sitting around in those closets under the bed in your desk drawer that you're not using and you're never going to use because, well, you used them last year or the year before. You can't use Christmas cards the same 2 years in a row. I would, but nobody else would. Anyways, we're looking to collect these through our Westfield Mayville Rotary Club. And Linda Dunn is collecting them over in Westfield. And as we mentioned, we take these unused cards with an envelope that fits, excuse me, and we redistribute those to folks that are shut-ins, the VA medical centers, the hospitals, Meals on Wheels folks, and last year we did 2,000 cards through our Rotary Club throughout the region. So if you have Christmas cards that you don't want to use, we will take them. Okay, let's see. Seems hard to believe, Justin, this is the last show of August. Holy mackerel. September is next week. So for those of you that are vacationing here in Chautauqua County, I want to welcome you. Jeff reminded me that this is the last week, I guess, for Chautauqua Institution, and they're going to be wrapping things up. So they got a lot of things going on over there. But there's just things all over Chautauqua County, and we'll get to some of those, the farmers markets and concerts and restaurants and walking trails and boating and kayaking and just way too many. The Comedy Center, you know, I don't want to limit who I'm talking about because there's just so much stuff. But check out your newspapers, listen to some things I'm going to share here in a minute, and a lot of stuff is free. Okay, let's see, anything else I wanted to mention here? All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get to our announcements, and then my guest is anxiously waiting in the sidelines to come on here. So here we go. Some events this weekend. These are kind of fun things. August 27th, and that was yesterday, but today and tomorrow is the 52nd Annual Fredonia Farm Festival at the Chautauqua County Fairgrounds at 1089 Central Avenue in Dunkirk. The festival runs from yesterday to 10 p.m., Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Sunday 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It'll feature and features over 130 craft vendors, food vendors, a cornhole tournament, antique car show, live music, and a whole lot more. In case you want to give them a call and you want more information, give them a call at 785-4469. Now, this one here is a new one. I don't remember announcing this one. This is tomorrow, August 28th, Monarch Butterfly Festival from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Audubon Community Nature Center over 1600 Riverside Road in Jamestown. If you haven't been to the Audubon, it's really nice there. See monarch butterflies up close as the Audubon's multi-purpose room is transformed into a garden of flowers and free flying butterflies. I bet that'd be cool. Participants will learn about the life cycle and migration of the monarch butterfly. There will also be nature walks, butterfly garden plants for sale, a food truck, and a whole lot more. At 6 p.m., the monarchs will be released to begin their migration to Mexico. Face coverings are required for everyone inside the building, regardless of vaccination status. I think we're seeing that a lot more lately. People were kind of becoming a little bit more conservative, rolling back a little bit on some of the rules, going back to the rules. Outdoor programs with more than 50 participants will require that face coverings be worn outdoors. Festival admission is $8 for the general public, $6 for Nature Center members, and children ages 3 through 15 are free. Wait a minute, let me make sure I got this right. Festival admission $8, general public is $6, children ages 13. And okay, this is reading weird. $8 for the general public, $6 for Nature Center members. Oh, here we go. $6 for Nature Center members and children ages 3 through 15, and it's free for children under 2. The $6 included 2 groups. Okay. More information, 569-2345. 569-2345. That's a good number. August 29th, that would be Monday. The United States Army Field Band and Soldiers Chorus from 2:30 to 7 p.m. at the amphitheater of the Chautauqua Institution, 1 Ames Avenue in Chautauqua, New York. The 2021 Chautauqua Institution season ends with a special performance. The band has participated in numerous presidential inaugural parades and supported many diplomatic missions overseas. It regularly travels and performs with the Soldiers Chorus, as together they provide a powerful and diverse program of marches, overtures, popular music, patriotic selections, and instrumental and vocal solos. For more information, give them a call at 357-6250. 357-6250. If you've never seen one of these Army or Marine bands, when you leave, you just are like juiced up. I mean, the energy level is incredible. Okay, this is from Westfield. The Chautauqua County Historical Society, is a sad note, has canceled an Evening with the Lincolns event for Saturday, September 11th. Because of the increasing incidence of COVID-19 cases, the Society is offering refunds for tickets that have already been purchased. I'm really bummed out because my band was going to play for that too, as I have for many years. The annual gala at the McClure Mansion Museum is the one time a year that we can thank our supporters in person, said Christy Herbst, Historical Society president. We have canceled it with great regret and promise to bring it back next year. Fingers crossed. This is the second year that the event has been canceled. The Society will send refunds to those who write their name and address on the back of the ticket they had purchased and then return the ticket by mailing it to CCHS Box 7, Westfield, New York, 14787. They can also turn tickets in to any historical trustee. Tickets also can be saved and will be honored at next year's event. Cool, prepaid. Since its inception in 1883, the Historical Society has been collecting and preserving the significant history of Chautauqua County. Its mission is to foster an interest in and knowledge of the history of Chautauqua County through the collection, preservation, and interpretation of objects and archives of local significance. For further information, you can go cchs at mcclurmuseum.org. Last week we had Michelle Henry here. I'm telling you about this event, and the show today is going to be right in that theme about history and preserving our past. Okay, if you want something else to do this week, if that wasn't enough, movies at the Reg. Okay, the music documentary Summer of Soul to show at the Reg for the arts here. The Roots Questlove directs Summer of Soul, Wednesday, September 1 at 7 p.m. Over the course of 6 weeks in the summer of 1969, just 100 miles south of Woodstock, the Harlem Cultural Festival was filmed in Mount Morris Park, now Marcus Garvey Park. The footage was never seen and largely forgotten until now. The feature includes never-before-seen concert performances by, listen to this, Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, Sly and the Family Stone, Gladys Knight and the Pips, one of my favorites, Mahalia Jackson, BB King, Mr. Guitar, The Fifth Dimension, and more. Summer of Soul is rated PG and is 117 minutes long. Upcoming movies at the Reg include the medieval fantasy drama The Green Knight on September 8th at 7, Matt Damon in the drama Stillwater on September 15th, 7 o'clock, and M. Night Shyamalan's thriller, I think that's how you say his name, Shyamalan. How do you say his name, Justin? No idea. That's not what it says. Shyamalan's thriller Old on September 22. It's second at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $7. There's $1 extra for the theater restoration fee, which will be added. These tickets may be purchased 12 to 5 p.m. every Monday from 12 to 8 p.m. Wednesdays and Fridays by calling 484-7070, and you can go online as well. Remember, vaccinated patrons are not required to wear masks, and it's located at 116 East 3rd Street. Okay. And finally, Step Up for Autism and Slow Roll. I like that, slow roll. This is going to be held September 25 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 200 Dunham Avenue, Jamestown. Step Up for Autism is a 1.5 mile fun walk helping raise funds and awareness for those with autism spectrum disorder in our community. Register at, okay, this is all one word, Step Up for Autism, okay? stepupforautism.com and have some fun. Be part of a team, raise money for a great cause, and enjoy a sweets auction. That's new. Proceeds from Step Up for Autism helps to filling the gap and supports programs and services for youth with autism spectrum disorder living in our community. And Resource Center thanks you for your support. And 2021, back to basics. Dunkirk Pedal Party. Justin, say that 10 times fast. Pedal Party, Pedal Party. September 18th, 1 p.m., the Resource Center, 186 Lakeshore Drive West. A fun ride for all ages and abilities. Slow Roll is one of the world's largest free and inclusive community bike rides. Founded in 2014, Slow Roll Buffalo connects communities through guided rides for bicyclists of all ages and skill levels with a slow pace and volunteer squad that keeps riders safe and social. Each ride features a different host site and unique route around the world. Did I just say world? Around the city, including stops to regroup and meet neighborhood stakeholders before returning for an after party with food, drinks, music, and fellowship. Minors under 18 must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. No gas guzzlers or training wheels are permitted. Gotta be just on your own human power. Slow Roll Buffalo is registered through New York State 501c3 not-for-profit organizations. They're presenting their partner Independent Health and working with many other generous community partners to help keep Slow Roll Buffalo free and inclusive to all. A one-time annual registration is required either online or on-site before the ride. And it's called, you gotta go to slowrollbuffalo.org for more information. Okay, that's it for announcements. Pretty cool stuff happening. We're gonna take a little breather and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I'll be seeing you.
No, the thing I've missed the most during this entire time, this pandemic, has been you.
I love playing to a live audience. There's nothing like it.
The COVID-19 vaccines are going to help us all get back to the moments we miss.
It's totally normal to have questions. I did too.
That's why it's so important to get informed.
So ask your doctor and get the facts. It's up to you.
You know, we have been talking about COVID and the transmission and how to stop and stuff like that. Chautauqua County, we've been doing very well. We're having an uptick right now, so we gotta be careful. So please, 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 please keep wearing the mask if you need to, if you're not vaccinated especially, and if you're not vaccinated, please consider getting vaccinated for your own welfare, for those that you love around you. And when I say this in all sincerity. I truly and honestly know people that did not get the shot for a variety of reasons. They either are not here with us anymore, or they have suffered greatly physically and still have after effects, or they have gone through the hospital and been on a ventilator, and thank goodness they've come out of it okay. But it's so unnecessary, okay? So just please think about that. Okay, enough said on that. I mentioned that we had Michelle Henry here last week, and we had a great time talking about the McClurgs, James McClurg, and all the things that were happening in our area, gosh, over 200 years ago. We talked about the Historical Society, and at the end we thought the gala was still on. Well, unfortunately, it's canceled. But our county really has embraced history and our past, I think, as a whole. I mentioned that I'm the town historian for the town of Ripley. I'm very proud to have that position. And today, I'm really pleased to welcome to our show Rick Keefer, who is the president of the Fluvanna Historical Society. I can get it out. Fluvanna Historical Society. And he's brought some pictures, and he's got a lot of background stories for us. And I've never met you before till today.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Fluvanna other than I drive down this area that has a cool name.
Yeah.
So, Rick, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here. Honored to be here.
We were mentioning Lacey Wilson, who I ran into at a different venue, who says, "Oh, you gotta have Rick on your show." I go, "Okay, who's Rick?"
Yeah.
You know. And so through a series of emails, we connected. So I'm glad you found us today.
Yes.
So, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, if you would.
Yeah. So, like I said, like you said, my name's Rick Keefer. I grew up here in Chautauqua County, so I'm a native son of Western New York.
Whereabouts?
In Fluvanna, actually. So that's where my interest in history really started, and where did these things come from? And a lot of it wasn't really, very apparent and well known, at the time. So I really started digging into the history of Fluvanna.
So Fluvanna, where do you go to school?
I went to school at Bemis Point for my 5th and 6th grade years there in Bemis Point Elementary School, and then Maple Grove High School is where I graduated.
So that was the
from.
Al DiTilio days?
Yeah, Al DiTilio.
Yeah,
actually, very good friends with their family.
Al used to be a principal in Ripley, and so I actually helped him move to Bemis Point.
Yes.
And then when I was
friends of theirs.
superintendent, we knew each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching, Al. Good morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you grew up in that area, and so what do you do now?
I actually split my time between here and all other 17 counties of Western New York. I head up human resources for the 17 counties of Western New York for the second largest agency of the state, the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities.
Well, we were talking about the Resource Center.
I just saw that on there, and I thought, oh, wow, this is great.
So how did you get involved with that group?
Yeah, interesting story. After I graduated from high school, I went to JCC, Jamestown Community College, just down the road. From there, I went and transferred to the University of Fredonia, where I got my bachelor's degree in political science. I studied history, religion, and politics, and then I went off to graduate school. Actually, a very well-known program and very prestigious program at the University of Toronto for political science and political philosophy, where I studied, again, the same type of stuff. And that's where I received my master's degree. When I realized that it was going to take a number of years to get my PhD, which I fully wanted to do. I wasn't really looking for a job.
It's not an easy road.
No, it's not. Not
I've been there.
That's right.
And I set aside a portion of your life for a while.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I thought, wow, if I fly through this program, it's going to take 4 or 5 years or 6 years, and easily could be 10. And I had a full ride to the University of Toronto. I was going for my master's first and going from there. But I thought, I don't know, I'm going to be in my mid-30s by the time I'm done with this, and that seemed so old at the time. And I thought, and I'm not going to really be making any money. Yeah, right, exactly. So I thought I would look around for a job, and I only applied to one place, to be honest with you, and it was with the state in a program that's currently on hold because we've been on a hiring freeze during the Cuomo administration for 10 years. But I was the last class to get in there for a group they called the Public Management Institute. And it's the nation's first real executive training program to really build up the future leaders within the state civil service system. So they teach you to be, and they train you to be an employee of the state of New York, not just a particular department. So I applied for that one job, and I thought if I didn't get it, then I know that I need to go off to graduate school and get my PhD. And then I thought, well, I got into the program. You take courses through the Cornell University and also through SUNY Albany, the Rockefeller Institute through them. And from there, I got my postgraduate certificate in labor and employee relations, and I ended up loving it. I loved the program. I loved working for the state. It was a lot of fun. So I was only planning on staying for 2 years, and I've been there for over 11 years at this point.
Oh, good for you. So you oversee services or programs, or
just the human resources and the administrative side of the house of it.
And this is with developmental disabilities?
With OPWDD is where I'm currently employed. Before that, I worked at the Department of Labor. You can, in my title, you can go to many different agencies. So I worked at the Department of Labor before that, and before that I worked at the Department of Transportation, and that's where I started my state service.
Wow, well, that's very interesting. Well, you talk about disabilities. I was a special education teacher for 15 years, and I supervised lots of programs, so that's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of my friends, over the years, we work with kiddos.
So
good for you. Okay, so now we have to make a little leap here. Not a big leap because it's not too far, but first of all, Fluvanna. Let's just take the word Fluvanna. The first thing that comes to my mind is French, and maybe it's not French. I don't know that. But growing up as a kid in Buffalo, we learned that buffalo was not named after the animal, but it was a French term for Beauflot, which is beautiful water.
Oh, so, I did not know that. You're actually teaching me this. That's great. Yeah.
And so Fluvanna, I was thinking maybe it had to do with water, but I don't know. Does it?
Yes, it does have to do with water. Very astute of you. Yeah, absolutely it does. It actually, the name itself, Fluvanna, and there's a little bit of a little bit of a controversy. There's two stories kind of where this goes. The most common story for how Fluvanna got its names is that two of the early settlers and founders of the community, that they named that community after their two daughters, one named Fluvia and the other named Anna or Anne. And it became
very cool.
Fluvanna. They combined the names together. But very quickly, if you Google Fluvanna online, though, you'll see that there's a number of other places in the country that are also named Fluvanna. So it can't exactly be that way or just a happy coincidence. The largest community is actually I think it's in central Virginia, and it's called Fluvanna. And their history goes back far more back in American history than ours does here in Western New York. They were settled way back in the 17th century. And the community was named after the river, the Queen Anne River, that flows through Virginia and eventually, I think, into the Potomac and then out into the Atlantic from there, the Chesapeake and Atlantic. So the Queen Anne's River back in the dialect of that day would have been called Fluvanna. So the Anne's River. Yeah.
So I was close.
You were very, very close. So like I said, very astute of you. That's actually part of the history that we want to tell about how Fluvanna really got that connection. I'm not saying that they didn't, kind of combine two different ways, but it's not a coincidence that we're also named after a county in Fluvanna. That goes back to the history of the meeting house, the first religious groups that were forming in Fluvanna, and they had a very unique identity that they wanted to harken back to.
I thought we have a phone call already.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Doc. It's Mike Felsman from Portland. How are you?
Mike from Portland. I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm good. Basically, I just wanted to call to say hello.
Hello.
I haven't called in a while.
You haven't. We missed you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. I wanted to say I found the last few programs very interesting. I know there was the week Mary Ann Spanos was on, and that was about Alzheimer's
Yep.
and dementia.
Yep.
And I know you had said, you hope people were listening.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get a chance to call in that day, but I was listening. So
It's okay.
I was on the other end.
I
So,
understand.
and that was interesting. And then Henry was on last week, and by the time I thought to call in, I was thinking about it. Then Linda called in, so I thought, my time. There was no time left for me. So, anyways, and now I'm listening. Now I'm listening to Rick a little bit on the southern end of the county.
Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Yeah. I didn't quite catch all the Fluvanna story because I was trying to get in on the telephone, but
Right.
it sounded kind of interesting. And I can always watch it again tonight.
The beauty of television, right?
That is. I did have one question. That's more for you, Doc, than for
Okay,
Rick.
go.
I have two things. I wanted to comment. I was born in Buffalo, as I've told you before, and I still, a little bit of my heart stayed there. I never knew what Buffalo was named after. I always figured it was just the big animal.
Buffalo?
Buffalo,
That's French.
the big buffalo.
Beautiful water.
Beautiful water. I'll remember that now.
That's
But
so
yeah, I
good.
never knew
That's
that.
so
And I'm around your age, so wow. And you did mention a car show in Ripley today.
Yep. Over at Meters.
What time does it start?
11 o'clock. So you can
Okay.
watch the show and still have time to get there.
I see that.
Maybe I'll see you
Okay.
down there. I'm planning on dropping by.
All right. Well, I'll let you get on with your show, of
Well, thank
course.
you.
And just thought I would say hello.
Okay. Hey, take care, Mike. We'll see you soon.
You too. Bye
Okay,
now.
How's that for a good recap?
Wow, that was great.
Yeah. Mike's been a good fan and listener and friend here. Okay, so how did you get involved with the Fluvanna Historical Society?
Yeah, so a few years ago, the old meeting house in Fluvanna was really going through a transition here. Going back through the history very quickly, the site there itself, has had a meeting house there since the formation of the community, going back to over 200 years at this point. So there's been a meeting house there the whole time. A meeting house, and we can talk a little bit more about what that
Exactly.
is.
What is a meeting
What
house?
is a meeting
Yeah.
house? We don't really use that term
No.
very much, here in Western New York very often. But
I like it, though. It sounds
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's a neat concept. But a meeting house, I might as well get into that now. A meeting house is, in these early communities, was really the town's community center. It was their civic center,
Okay.
or a village or a hamlet. It's, they didn't, when they first settled these lands, clearing the forest, putting farms in, building their homes. These were like the essential, things that had to be done just to live.
Yep.
But very early on, and this is a tradition going all the way back to the Pilgrims and the Puritans, the very first building that they would build as a community together would have been the meeting house,
Okay.
where they could have school, they could have public meetings, they could have elections that would be held there, any visitors that would come by and give lectures. It was where the community met and became the visible community, really, as you look at it that way. And it was also where they would worship. Oftentimes multiple religious groups, would worship.
So it's like a
in one.
multi-purpose building.
A multi-purpose building, exactly. And it was literally called the meeting house, is what they would call it. So there's been a meeting house there for over 200 years. The core of that building there, the main, center of it, dates back to 1840 itself, and then really what you see with some of the additions and a steeple being added is really the 1890s, and on. In the 1920s, early 19-teens, the meeting house really became the sole the occupant of the meeting house was the church itself. And that itself has a lot of the history of the type of things. In 1980, the church built a new building down the road, and they gave the church to the community. I'm sorry, they gave the old church, the old meeting house, to the community as a youth center, and it flourished as a youth center. I mean, there'd be nights there if you grew up in the Bemis Point area, Fluvanna, Jamestown, anywhere in these surrounding communities, there would be hundreds and hundreds of kids. I mean, flowing out into the cemetery and over
Really?
into the woods there, and then playing basketball.
This is a
and,
big, must be a pretty large building.
It is a large building. You wouldn't think so necessarily if you're driving by, but then when you get up to it, you realize, wow, they can hold a lot of people. So it can hold a good 300, 400 people
No
at a
kidding.
given time. So the the meeting house after the youth center moved down to a whole new family center that they built down at the church, they decided, what are we going to do with this? And we hated to see something with so much history, so much value that it has given in the past to the community to, go to rot, basically, or who knows what it would become. So a group formed, just a grassroots efforts throughout the community to preserve this building, and to really reuse it and really reimagine its use, but but also being mindful of what the past was and kind of bring this all together and make it a community center again. So that's how the Historical Society was formed, and I, just jumped into it.
So how many people make up the society right now?
So the COVID-19 really hit us hard.
Gosh, yeah.
Very, very difficult. I mean, this is, the community group they had formed, certainly had a core group of 50 to 60 people that were involved. But all of this was really in-person neighbors. This was really just, for our community. With the over 16, 17 months of not being able to get together and being in quarantine, and the like, it's been very difficult. So that's when I was asked to come on board to kind of revitalize things. How are we going to transform our services? And it was time to do that anyways, because we really want our mission not to be just in our community. We think that we have a message and a vision for all of Chautauqua County, Western New York, and really the entire world, really. And I know that sounds really big and grandiose, but we do have an important story that we want to tell. So I came on board 4 months ago to act as the new president of the Historical Society. We had a re-kickoff in June where we recreated one of the oldest known photos of Fluvanna.
Yes, very cool.
And it was a membership drive at the same time, so we had over 145 people that signed up for their new memberships. Wow. We have an online presence now, so, and those are things that we can talk about with everybody else.
Will.
But yeah.
Okay, very, very.
So about 145 to answer your question. Yeah.
So how many people do you think is in the Ripley Historical Society?
Yeah, you're there.
It's me.
Oh, you. Well, I was to say, if you're a part of it, I would say thousands are probably a part of this.
I have to work on my membership card.
Yeah, well, we knew that too. We knew how easy it is if you're not having, meetings and events, and that's why we had this big kickoff.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to maintain a group like that. So good on you guys. When I was sitting there listening to you and thinking about this meeting house and how you want to preserve it and so forth, and how do I put this in a nice way? Let's do a comparison rather than a value statement. If you go to Europe, they preserve every stick and stone that was ever put together for the most part. I mean, they really do, and they have laws that say you can't knock down a building that's over 100 years old or something like that. Even if it's an old barn that you can see through it, it stands. You come to America, we bulldoze things.
Yes.
In the past, and I'm not saying we're still doing it, but in many ways, there seems to be that lost history.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And when I talk to people now through my position as the town historian, and you're doing the same thing, I can tell by your energy level and already what you're doing. People have lost the good stuff that happened 200 years ago. The passion, the industry, the creativity, the juices, the cool things they were doing. They were putting on plays and they were building roads and they were having gala events and I mean, bringing the railroads. I mean, it was a big time. And it's lost because, it's been all paved over or knocked down. And thank goodness there were historians back 100 years ago, 50 years ago even, that grabbed a lot of this history and saved it for us. And if we're smart enough, we dig it out and we share it now. And that's what I hear you doing.
Absolutely. And there's a real tension there especially in the North, and especially here in the United States, where there's this energy and this youth and this vitality, and they really took pride in that 200 years ago. And as you said, there's a ton of energy, a ton of things like that. They were also happy, and including the people here in this area, not only just to innovate, but sometimes even go a little bit of an excess of wiping away all ties to our history.
We're starting fresh.
We're starting fresh over. That's
Don't want to talk about the past.
Yeah, that's a very American thing, very thing here in the North. Many of the people who came out here, well, first of all, who came to New England, they wanted a New England, out of this, starting over. The people who came up here to upstate New York.
New York.
Yes, New York. This is the whole area out of this thing, new and fresh and whatever. the people who formed Fluvanna were absolutely of that same ilk.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
in so
my
many
grandparents
ways.
were too.
And they, absolutely. They were a large group of people in the community were part of a movement across the country that in the religious world wanted to see a revolution of religion, just like we went through a revolution politically.
Yes.
And we broke ties with the old country, with the mother country, and with in Europe and their despots and their monarchs, and we're creating this new man, this new woman, this new community that we're building. They wanted to do the same thing in religion. And so so the movement they were part of was the first indigenous religious movement in America, and they simply knew themselves as Christians. That's it. They didn't want to be called Baptists or Methodists or Presbyterians or even Congregationalists, which they really kind of came from a lot of these groups. They kind of hopefully forget those ties of it. So this was kind of, and I would argue it's part of the same. It's part of the same theme and culture of what America had
highly agree with
beforehand.
you. Yeah.
But then Fluvanna here in Chautauqua County had a number of firsts, that we can get into, and those stories. But we've almost lost it all. To go to your major point there, we've almost lost this because they were so good at moving forward, and we're just Americans, and retelling that we've forgotten their story, and that's what we want to retell. We want to be true to their ethos, but we also want to make sure that we're educating people today so we can know our roots and we can better connect to each other.
Okay, so let's go back to where we kind of began with the word Fluvanna.
Yeah.
So you got James Prendergast that's working with the city of Jamestown and is forming this. And unbeknownst to you, his older brother lived just down the road where I live in Ripley.
Oh,
there's a huge Jamestown-Ripley connection that I've been discovering.
Wow, okay,
because that's the way the county was laid out. We were like the frontier in Ripley to Jamestown, I suppose. But I mean, it was all frontier. But so you got these things going on. You got for the Pomfret group. You got us over here. You got the Dutch coming into Clymer. You got all over the place, and then up into the northeast corner of this county. But what made Fluvanna Fluvanna? What is it? Is Fluvanna a Four Corners? Was it a village at some time? What is it?
It's a hamlet, an unincorporated hamlet. It sits on the town line between the towns of Ellicott and Ellery. So it's right there in the middle of the town line. It was quite, at one point, certainly, a hub, certainly, for the community. So the old post lines, at one point went from Fredonia, Dunkirk area, but from Fredonia down to the Stockton, and then right into Fluvanna before it got to Jamestown. So this was a place where people, certainly settled for a whole host of reasons. There was a post office here, one of the first, certainly in, around the lake. It was one of the first communities on the lake itself, certainly much more developed than Bemis Point, at this particular point in history. They had landings there for boats and for the ferry that would go across the lake. There was a ferry there. There were boats. The steamboats, when they got to the age of those, they had a landing station there. And then from there, the mail went out across the whole lake into the rest of the area. And goods went that way. And then when the railroads were put in, same type of thing. So there's a number of railroad stops that you have these little neighborhoods in Fluvanna, even though it's a neighborhood itself, like Bonita and Elmhurst, Town Line itself. These were all stops on the railroad that were there. So there was a number of homes. It wasn't massive, and certainly Jamestown ended up taking off much more and got much larger. So when they had meeting houses there, they were broken up by denominations and the things of that nature. But there was a very concerted effort by the group of people there to build a very intentional community that they had. The first hotel on the lake that started the whole resorts by 20 years or more was in Fluvanna, and by one of the primary movers of both the community, the church, and all of its institutions that were there. He was also the postmaster. His name was Samuel Whittemore. And so he formed a home that was a hotel that was the first, as I said, on the lake, but it was called the Temperance House, or it was called at the same time the Fluvanna House is what they called it. And it was for a place where travelers could come and not have to be in a bar or in a tavern where they might. This is the beginning of the temperance movement. And so you see these people were very principled and very much, this was a new thing in this time in history. And so he was certainly a very prominent member here in this area of the temperance movement. So he formed this house called the Temperance House, where you could come and you could stay, but you wouldn't have a lot of drunken rivalry.
And pressure to drink. drink or
yeah, those type of things went to have around. And that house really started and became very, well known. People were coming from all over the place, Buffalo, Rochester, other cities, to escape the cholera epidemic, and pandemics that were going on at the time, killing, hundreds of people. This was endemic to communities throughout, the West for centuries, really.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what caused it. This was before the era of knowing really, how infections, really spread and the like. So they believed that if you got up to higher elevations, you got outside of cities, you went to these type of areas and got fresh air. And so his house really became a haven for people who could afford it to come down, to come up into the hills out here in this beautiful, pristine Chautauqua Lake and escape the epidemic. So these things that we're going through right now with the COVID-19 pandemic were,
been there, done
that. Right, exactly. You got it.
Okay, so so your society has been rejuvenated, but how long has it been in
Since 2015 is really when we took off.
So it's a relatively new organization.
Yeah, it's a relatively new organization, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I know we can talk, but you brought some really cool photos. And I want to get to it now because we want to talk a little bit about them because we want to give them their due.
Yeah.
So Jeff, if you just want to start wherever it starts, and I'll let you narrate.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this.
So this is a picture of the old meeting house. This is what they would have called it at the time the picture was taken, as well as throughout most of its history. So this is the meeting house. The part you can kind of see, you see where it is that Gothic window, that large one in the middle, and there's a change kind of in the texture of the photo.
I see that, yeah.
That's called fish scale. This is done in a Queen Anne style of architecture, and the stuff on the top was the fish scaling. That's very common.
Almost like a scallop kind of look. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Very common to this style, which was very popular in the Victorian era, 1880s, 1890s, when that was done. What we think is happening here is when they're really, this is probably around 1888, 1890, could be a little bit later. It's an undated photo. We don't even know the names of the people there, but we do know that they took the old meeting house, which you can see the main part of it is what's that whiter part, that's just the clapboard siding that's underneath. They took that main part that goes back to 1840, and they raised this whole roof here, and they put the steeple on it as well. So this is what this photo is. It's the oldest known photo that we have of the Fluvanna meeting house, as well as of the community itself.
Now, before we move on, let's keep in mind we have people who are listening to the show, so you're doing a great job describing it. So right now, it looks to me like an old church.
Yes.
I mean, that's if you were to look at it real quick, but it will also serve as a general community building.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And gosh, there's horses and mules, it looks like. And I don't know what else. Oh, there's actually a team of horses.
With a team of horses with the
yokes, or whatever we call that thing.
Yeah.
All my friends are laughing at me right
I know,
now.
right? I don't know all the technical terms either, but yes, that's right. You're right.
A team of horses.
Yeah, there's about 30 men that are in the picture, and about 10 women, about 5 to 10 women. It's hard to see in some of the photos. There's about 4 kids, and you can see there's a toddler on one of the horses on the far right-hand side.
Over here on the far left, is that a oxen?
No, it is a horse over there. It looks like it, but
you see the thing goes up, it looks like a horn from here. Oh, okay.
And talk about when the church left the building and gave it as a youth center in 1980. They were cleaning out the building, and just to tell you about how close we came to losing this history, this photo was found in a waste paper basket, crumpled up.
Are you kidding?
So that's why you see.
Oh, all right. So that's just
why you see the crease. That's a crease there because somebody went and had almost turned away. We were that close to losing a little bit more of the history. So just going with that theme of things that you're talking earlier, we certainly have a passion not to have that happen again.
Very interesting. Okay. All right. What we got here?
This is a picture of old Fluvanna Road. Back then, it would just been called Fluvanna Road.
So we're looking southward.
Yep, we're looking southwestwards.
Okay, and the lake is to our right in the photo, and then some houses.
There's some houses, just some steps going down to the road. You can see it's a plank road, and that's actually a general store that you see there on the right-hand side.
Okay.
There was the post office was just a little bit further down.
Oh yeah, I
there.
see that. Yeah.
Yep. So they had a number of those down there. You can see there's 3 little kids that are walking down the street. A little girl with wearing a Victorian dress and a hat on. This is from the view. This is probably just about I would say like 5 meters away or whatever that is in yards or whatever from the meeting house itself, looking down the road towards.
Okay, so in today's vernacular, what road is this? Is this old Route 17?
This is this is way before Route 17. This is old. Today we would call that Old Fluvanna Road.
Okay.
And then Fluvanna Avenue is, if you kind of pivot a little bit more to your left over here, is coming, and it comes to like a little bit of a triangle at the point
I know
there.
where that
so
is.
that's Fluvanna Avenue, and that is Old Route 17.
Okay, so this is right next to the lake.
Yeah, this is right next to the lake. The community was right there.
So we have any idea when this was taken?
Again, it's at the same time that they took that photo. Well, actually, probably a little bit earlier. This could be as early as the somewhere in the early 1880s, 1890s.
Wow.
So
I'm looking at that road thinking, holy mackerel.
yeah, can you imagine?
Hey, Jeff, want to ride your bike on that road?
Yeah. yeah, definitely you would. Which is why they like to use, of course, the lake to go back and forth much. So this was a landing. At one point, they called it early on. They called it the Point, which we're not quite sure because there's not much of a point there. If you go up to Greenhurst area, see that a little bit more. This is
that
the
guy?
modern. Yeah, I know. Who's he? Handsome fellow there,
Handsome
I think.
fellow.
Yeah.
So is this the back of the meeting house?
This is the front of it. But
this is the front.
So what's
Oh,
happening?
the windows are different now.
Yeah,
Oh, you tricked me. All right.
Yeah, when they turned this into a youth center, of course, this became a gym in the middle of this.
A
So
gym?
this became a
Gymnasium.
gym. So they covered up all the windows, but they're still there. The
Oh,
Gothic
my
arches
God,
are
those
still
beautiful
there. They're all
windows?
behind that. So of course our goal is in the end to restore this to what you saw back in those photos, at least to the to that late 19th century.
That's going to take a couple dollars.
Oh, it's going to take a couple dollars. It definitely is. So we're in the midst right now. Frankly, the roof is in urgent need of repair, and it's going to cost us about $40,000 to get the roof repaired. The good news is that we are already halfway there to raising the funds in just 4 months. Just 4 months we raised that.
What is right at the very top of that peak?
Yep.
Not the tower, but the peak. What is that dark
That
thing?
was the bell that used to hang up there, and it would amplify the bell coming down. So they had an electronic speaker system going back, believe it or not, to the 1950s. Early 1950s, late 1940s. They had a bell system that went up there. So that was an electronic system that went up, and it amplified it, and it would come down off the roof, and then have the chimes and the bells sound throughout the whole community. Yeah.
All right, but so now the building is used for what?
So this is where we keep all the way up until we needed to get the roof repaired. So in 2015, we started moving all of our stuff in there, collecting all the records and photos and artifacts and different things.
People are donating things, and
we're
you're
housing
kind
it
of
there.
creating a museum.
Oh,
kind of a thing?
absolutely. We were having
Very
Lacey
cool.
Wilson, who used to be our past president, would have the Fluvanna Fest here, which COVID, of course, has made it impossible for us to, certainly do. But she'd have the Fluvanna Fest here, so they'd have a race that would start off there, a 5K race that people love to run around the area. Picnics at the spot. Lectures. We'd have various people. Michelle Henry came down and spoke. As our county historian. That's been great with that. And a number of other people, have taken part. So that's what's going on there. Because of the roof situation, we wanted to move everything out because we didn't want to damage all of our records. So thankfully, the Fenton Historical Society and the Bemis Point Historical Society have been able to help us out until we can, get back into the building. This is a photo at our kickoff event that we had. This was our photo recreation. That photo that you saw at the very beginning, we recreated just a few weeks ago at the end of June.
It was in the newspaper.
It was in the newspaper, right there on the front
saw it,
page.
yeah.
And so we recreated that photo. You can see a couple horses there in the background. Over there on the right, you can see he's the new pastor of the only church that's in Fluvanna, the community church, an interdenominational church, and that's Pastor Wentworth. You can see right next to me, in this picture right next to me to my right in the picture is our county executive, PJ, and next to him is our senator, the New York State Senator, George Borrello, and then finally, and last but not least, is our Assemblyman, Andy Goodell.
Right.
So we had a great showing of support, and our elected officials have just been excellent, pledging their support. It's been great. They really see, especially when you see 140 some people show up, to get there. They really see how this is all part of it. And there's a little bit of a photo that you see there. Now we have the digger there because we again wanted to take a photo, not to exactly replicate it. This wasn't a historical recreation. This was a modern recreation of it. We want to show our connection with the people in Fluvanna past. And then, of course, we want this to be a photo that people would be able to see going into the future as well, too. We're working with a great artist and a photographer, Kira is her name, Kira Spencer, who is taking the photos that we've taken, and she's taking that old photo and morphing that into a model room. We're going to use that on our website and for various things we do there. So this is us. You know, I'm thanking everybody that's particularly there. This isn't even everybody that was in the photos. This was just, you know, part of it. And we're really showing the diversity of our community, that we're united, that, you know, together as well. You know, this pandemic has had such a stressor on society. I know you know that, right? It was such a stressor, you know. And, you know, that's very, I took a number of courses when I was in graduate school and at Fredonia, you know, as well on plagues and peoples. It was one course that I took, and talking about the social effects that pandemics and disease have on society. That isolation,
depression,
these divisions that are in society really come up. So we're trying to show, you know what, through this pandemic, we're united as a community, and we're going to get to know each other better.
Who are these sweet ladies?
Aren't they beautiful? These young ladies. These are beautiful people that we have here. Actually, I got to tell you, these are my nieces. These are my nieces as well. So that's Paisley on the far left-hand side, and that's Oakleetta Wilson.
Now, are they your brothers or
These
your
are my
sisters?
sisters. These are my sister's children.
All right.
And they're in the middle, not my relative, but she's a sister spiritually.
Okay. Sister from another mother.
Yeah, exactly. Ellen Newman is her name, Ellen Newman. And Ellen, just 2 or 3 days later, after we took this picture in June, turned 100 years old. You know, so I just love the coming together of the different generations, the different elements in our community, and that's what we wanted to show here.
I hope she likes you, because you're never supposed to say how old a woman
Oh,
is.
yeah. Oh, dang it. I knew it. Here.
She's got you stuck a pin in
Yeah,
your
I know. Gosh, I'm
voodoo
sorry,
doll.
Ellen. Sorry, but we had to tell. We had to tell you on
No,
this
well,
one.
good for her. And,
Yeah, I'll tell her to watch the show for sure, but to blank out here at this particular part. We'll start a little bit later.
Okay, well, who do we have here?
So yeah, this
Smiling
is
faces.
Candy. Yeah. These are some people from our community. These are people coming from out of town, actually. You know, and over on the far right-hand side, Candy Musa. I'm sure a lot of people here in this community remember the Musas, especially in the Jamestown area. Her husband was a principal, I think at CC Ring. We'll have to find that out for sure. And these are her siblings, you know, as well too.
So they're coming back.
They're coming back here. She actually lives
A lot
up in
of people
Rochester.
come back to the communities.
Yeah, this is their roots. And so again, we wanted to show that, you know, whether, you know, connections to the past or whatever, if your roots are here, you know, or you just believe in the ideals that we have, we want to have you around.
All right, so we have the police to break up the booze
Yes,
party.
this is our chief of police in the
Breaking
town
up
of
the party.
Ellicott. Yep, picking it up, keeping order. That was a
Keeping
rowdy
order.
group of people there. We took a number of pictures with our law enforcement officials, and they have been great. The chief there has just, in the town of Ellicott, Bill, he has just, you know, really shown the support. They've donated out of their own pockets, you know, as just private individuals, they donated to this this effort that we've had here. And again, what we're trying to build here is that, yes, there's problems in our community. There have been, and throughout the nation, but there's been problems, you know, throughout all of human history. When you go back and look at it, what we're trying to see is we're building bridges across these type of things, that we're one community.
And
we're
we're
one
learning
group of
from,
people.
hopefully, the past.
Yeah. These are a group of our board members of the Historical Society. You know, full disclosure, my father is on the far right-hand side. He is also known as Rick Kieffer. So in the community, a lot of people,
Rick.
get confused by that. Rick and Rick, right? Exactly. So you know, these people, a group of people, they've been here through thick and thin. They are so dedicated. They are so a part of it. But we're welcoming new people in. You know, today as well, and a whole new generations coming on board.
Okay, we're going to stop with pictures other than this last one, because we only
Yeah.
got a minute and a half left of the show.
Yeah, right. Here's one of our former fire chiefs that we have here as well too. Wally is his name. Oh, excellent story. We're going to be showing these on our websites, by the way, over the coming months and couple of years. We're going to take people from those photos, and we want to preserve their individual history as part of this as well too.
Story.
So he's actually a first-generation American, immigrated here as an adult, and what a fascinating story. Grew up here in Fluvanna, and so his is one of the stories we're going to tell. And that fire truck is, you know, going back 100 years itself, in one of the original fire trucks they had in Fluvanna.
All right,
So that's
catch your breath. Let's do phone number and website, or people want to donate. We got a minute, so you got it.
Yes, definitely. Please, if you want to donate or just learn more, we want you to learn more about this. That's our mission, you know, here in the Historical Society. But you can go to our website at Fluvanna, Fluvanna, history, HISTOR, TORY.com. So that's our website. It has our contact information on there. It tells a bit about the story. We're going to be putting a lot more on there. We got a grant that, from Microsoft Philanthropies already, over $20,000 toward used towards technology and towards web things. So that was great, just to get us through this COVID type thing. If you wouldn't mind putting that back up on there, because I don't know the phone number right off the top of my head, but the phone number is on there as well. Okay. That's 716-804-7163. You can get a hold of us at any time. There's an automated system. It can leave messages. And so, yeah, visit there. That's where you can learn more about us. And we can also accept donations.
And can people come visit the meeting hall?
Absolutely. By appointment right now, because of COVID-19,
Okay.
we have to be very careful.
Well, that's a wrap. We're done.
Wow. Well, that was quick. I got to come back to tell more now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Folks, my guest today has been Rick Keefer, the president of the Fluvanna Historical Society. Rick, I hope you had fun.
I did.
And
This
thanks
was a
for
lot of
sharing
fun.
all
Thank
that
you.
great information.
Yeah.
And if you do have some major developments, give me a holler and we'll bring you back.
Absolutely. We'll be glad to do so.
All right, folks. It's the last weekend of August. Enjoy the heat.
Yeah.
I think it's going to cool off next week, I hope.
Yeah.
Anyways, take care. Enjoy your weekend. Lots of good things going on here in Chautauqua County. And we'll see you again next Saturday at 9 o'clock. Take care. Bye-bye.